So in the last video I showed you the homemade rod wrapper, and I thought I'd just show you my favourite rod. It's a rod I've been doing up. This is the rod that had all the eyes smashed when it got knocked off the rod stand in the wind down at Skin and Grove. And I'll give you 2 seconds to see if you can figure out what the rod is just by looking at it. I know this is just a tip section, but can you guess? Lovely carbon. They're the whippings we've done. Put minimas on it because they just don't break. Not like other eyes do. When other eyes go off, it tends to be the inside that comes out and you're left with a sharp edge. But with these there is no inside bits. And if the rod goes over, chances are these will just bend and it'll just bend back into shape. So I really like them. Can you guess yet? This is a Shakespeare Salt Beach FS. And it's my favourite rod. It's the rod I've caught my biggest fish with. And it was really amusing that day because we're on Roker Pier, on the Roundhead, and one of the lads we'll go fishing with, our mate, he always takes the mick out of us, saying the rods I use are rubbish, the reels I use are rubbish, because he's standing there with these Century rods and his multipliers, and I'm there with me £60 Shakespeare rod and me Penn Surf Blaster, which is a hell of a reel. And he said, literally the words that came out of his mouth were, that rod and that reel won't pull a fish in heavier than £5. And about half an hour later I caught a double figure. So that was great. I enjoyed that day shutting them up. So yeah, so this is the tip. So I stripped all the paint back off, completely down to the bare bones. Now I have to warn you, if you're thinking about doing something like this, make sure you do your homework. You don't want to use, I'll see if I can get this varnish out. I'll just pause the video. Yeah, you don't want to use a chemical based paint stripper. Make sure you use a citrus based paint stripper, and this is the one I used, that one there, and it really did do the job. It took a few goes, but took it all off lovely. And then I sanded the rod down very lightly with some wet and dry, varnished it, and then I started whipping the eyes back on. And I also painted the tip before I put the rod back on there, and the paint I used is Createx pearlized airbrush paint, and that's what I've been using to paint the rod and the lures, and airbrush. So that's the tip section. That's all done, with the exception of I need to put some Mighty Bright on the tip. So I think we'll do that now, shall we? So this is the Mighty Bright I'm using. It's excellent stuff. It really shines like something up right on the end of your rod. Start underneath. Just going to turn the rod, keeping it toward. Enough of that angle. Go back. Turn it a bit more. Try that. That's it. And perlite paint has some reflective properties in it, and anyway that's why I used it. But this stuff's just fantastic. I'm going to join on where that ended best I can. Like so. And again, just turn the rod, keeping the tape taut. There we go. Now that'll reflect like something not right in the dark with the torch on it. So that's the tip section. I'll show you what I'm doing with the butt section now. Right, so this is the butt section of the rod. And again, stripped all the paint off and varnished the carbon. And it's got a really nice carbon on it. I can't believe they hid it under paint. I don't know if you can make it out, but it's got lovely carbon. Between here and here, and at the bottom there to where the bottom butt goes on, that's where the grip's going to go on. The heat shrink, I really like the reel seat that this rod has, so I've just left that on and masked it up to keep it clean while I was painting. The bottom section, there's going to be a whip in there. I've painted this just plain white, again the Createx colours. I've designed my own logo, Mrs. Doyle Goes Fishing logo, and the name I want on it. So I'm just in the process of getting those made. Then I'll put them on, and I'm going to hand write on the 4 to 8 ounce etc. on the other side of this. Then once all that's written on, then I'll varnish this section as well and put the heat shrink on and do the last of the whippings, and then the rod will be ready to use hopefully by next summer. It's definitely not a winter rod, it's a very soft rod, but I absolutely love it. It casts so easy, you don't have to put any effort in. It's really fantastic to cast, loads of fun when you actually get a fish on it. And like I say, it's caught as me biggest fish ever, so it's not going anywhere. So that's it for now. Once the stickers are made and I'm moving on to finishing the rod up, I'll video it to show you. But I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time.